What did Roger Goodell say in his press conference at the owners' meetings? I'm excited to hear it. Anthony, you know?
I do know.
Okay.
He started off that he sees no momentum in changing the playoff seeding because the Eagles and Cowboys stink.
By the way, the only change that I would like to see potentially in the playoffs is an asterisk, a clause that if you have a losing record, you forfeit your automatic bid for the playoffs to the next highest conference team.
I like that.
I don't think that's too crazy. I think if your division can't find a team that can have a winning record, you don't deserve a shot. That's just the way it should go. Give it to somebody else, especially in this NFC where there's a lot of hot teams right now. The fact that one of them are going to have to sit out because of the NFC least is in my eyes, potential conversation starter. But I think the NFL playoffs are perfect. I mean, I would like it to be known that I think the NFL playoffs are perfect. And this does not happen on a regular occasion where a team with a losing record gets in like this. It's only happened every once in a while. But not a bad thing to put a little clause in there. A clause to the clause. Unless you have a losing record and you still are divisional champs, you forfeit your right for the bid to somebody else that has tried and played better than you have this particular season.
Yeah, because the Rams and Vikings with a much better record one of those teams are going to have to sit out.
And that's a shame.
It's a shame.
That's a shame. Kick him off the tour, Doug.
Raj also said the league has moved on after Kaepernick chose not to take an incredible opportunity.
Well, hello there. Utilize the promo code PAYTHEBILLS and get $20 off your first order from SeatGeek. Now, back to the magic. By the way, normally the world is against Roger Goodell. I think with the way that entire thing panned out, a lot of people who were even on Colin Kaepernick's side, like I was on Kaepernick's side, by the way. A lot of people have come after me on the internet from both races, whites and African-American folks, saying that I was dumb for taking my positioning, which has always been, I very much understand what he was kneeling for. I appreciate the fact that he generated a conversation that has potentially made our country a better place and a more understanding place. And although the reason for the protests was definitely confused on both sides of the aisle here. One was fighting for injustice. One thought it was completely against the military, which you could see how both sides could potentially run with it. They turned their backs on each other, decided not to talk to each other. And I, who have been in an NFL locker room and around a lot more of these situations, I think I have a little bit more understanding. Like, yeah, I understand that these guys feel a duty to give back to their community, which is what Colin Kaepernick was doing, and a lot of guys that took a knee throughout the whole thing. It just got misconstrued. I was on Kaepernick's side for a long time. I thought it killed ratings. I don't think a lot of people expected or appreciate it. I think it very much turned people off from the NFL, but I think it, in the end, made our world a better place. And for one day, we all wish. By the way, Jay-Z wishes this, who set this up. I wish this. I think a lot of people. Just for one day, he played by the NFL's rules. And if they didn't sign him, I think even more people would have been on his side. Instead, he made it a distraction. He made it a show, a cluster, and ain't nobody going to want to sign him now. And honestly, you can't blame him at this point. I think there were some teams that were thinking about signing him, and then what happened, and now it's just like, yep, Roger Goodell can say things like this, and everybody's like, yeah, hey, we feel you, man. We agree completely. And by the way, if I'm Colin Kaepernick, I can understand how you don't trust the NFL for what has happened. But for one day, just one day, if he would have just played their game, this could be a completely different story. Could have came full circle. But instead, here we are. He's probably never going to play in the NFL again.
It's a shame.
I don't know. I don't know if he's good or not. I have no idea if he's good or not. I think there's teams that legitimately wanted to sign him, though, that would have appreciated a workout without the cameras and without the things. They could talk to him, ask him questions and all that stuff. But instead, he made it about him and his team and whatever. Roger Goodell's done with it, by the way. He's done with it.
Ship has sailed.
I do not want to hear any more questions. Mr. Z, Hova, made me do that workout, and he made us look like fools, so I'm done with it completely, is what Roger Goodell said.
In regards to the CBA, Raj isn't sure how far apart the owners and players are. I don't know where we'll be. I know we've committed to work hard and try to keep the issues at the table and try to see if we can reach an agreement.
All this is PR now. A couple weeks ago, they were like, oh, we're almost near being finished. That's either the NFL saying we're almost near finished to put pressure on the NFLPA not to come out and say, no, we're not, because then the NFLPA looks like a bunch of spoiled brats, or it's the NFLPA putting that out to make the NFL look bad. Just know that during these CBA negotiations, it is 1,000% a PR PR spin in an attempt to get leverage over the other person. That's just the way it goes. They want it to be billionaires versus millionaires, but it's not that. Remember that. It's everyday guys who've worked their ass off to get into a league trying to leverage against 30 billionaires, including the guy at the Raiders and then the Packers negotiating. It's going to be a crazy scene. The fact that they were thinking about finishing early is crazy.